Okay, hi everyone, Torin here. I'm just walking down this road here towards the location I was when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked into high gear about 2 years ago. I'm saying about 2 years because the actual day I'm recording this is on the 25th of February. The big invasion started on the 24th. But the weather here, where I'm at in Nova Scotia, was lousy that day. It was just pouring rain. And on top of the snow, and then it was ice. It was just no good for really going anywhere. As I walk down the road, I'm noticing this over here. Take a look at that. This is the southern side of the road, and this is the northern side of the road. And notice how much more snow has melted here. It's because this side gets a lot of sun, whereas the other side doesn't. It's late in February, so spring will be coming soon. Anyway, let's get down to the cabin. Here we are approaching the last major intersection before the cabin. If my memory serves correctly, I want to go straight. But let's take a look at the sign and verify that. Oh yeah. Welcome to the Lake Charlotte Trail System. We hope you enjoy your ride. Okay, let's ride lights on. Okay. I'm not an ATV, so I guess I don't need that. Okay. Makes sense. And let's look at the sign up here. To the right is a fishing lake and the North Warming Shack. I've never been there. I have to check it out someday. Straight ahead is the clubhouse. That's where I'm going to be heading off to. And let me walk over this way a bit. And this one straight ahead, which is down this road over here, is also Easter Door, if you go there far enough. And who the heck uses these signs as a target? I mean, come on. Please don't do this. I don't know about you, but this isn't related to the topic of the Ukraine-Russia war, but this area around the cabin, where the clubhouse, has some really nice trees. Like, look at this over here. A completely tall red spruce, I believe. That's a completely straight and tall red spruce. That's, I would say, about 20 meters tall. Got another one over here. Beautiful trees. I just really hope that they don't get blown over by the next hurricane, because that's sadly what happens to a lot of trees here. All right, the lake is just through those trees there. The clubhouse is literally about 2 minutes walk. Let's get to it. Alrighty, here is the clubhouse. This is where I was 2 years ago when Russian troops started storming towards Kyiv. Oh, looks like my culvert unplugging last, I think 2 summers ago has held up nicely, because the road here is nice and dry, and the water is staying in the brook, which is where it belongs. Am I right? So you can see the lake is kind of frozen right now. And there's been a whole bunch of land cleared around this cabin here since when I was here 2 years ago. And I'm also going to put out on a record here that when I was here 2 years ago, when Russia started sending tanks towards Kyiv, it was rainy, windy, and not very pleasant, to be really honest. It was around midnight or so, Nova Scotia time, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I was sleeping on one of those tables there, actually, and I had the chairs arranged kind of like this. They're arranged like that so that I wouldn't roll off. I did not roll off, shockingly enough. And yeah. I've gone through this cabin in the past video, which I'll link to in the description card over, where is it? Over in that corner. So I'm not going to go give you the whole walkthrough of the cabin today. Besides, it's too nice outside to just, well, spend all time in the cabin, so I'm going to hang outside for a bit. Tell you what I'm thinking of the war so far. I don't understand these people who think that the Russia-Ukraine war has turned into a frozen conflict or a stalemate. Judging by the troop losses reported by the armed forces of Ukraine, which, if they're even remotely accurate, are around 700 to 1,000 people a day on the Russian side. Ukraine loses, I've heard, something like 1/5 to 1/6 of that every day. This is not a frozen conflict. This is still a high-intensity war going on. And Russia's still sending missiles and drones towards Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities that don't have Patriot batteries. So, that doesn't sound like a frozen conflict to me. And it's also not a stalemate because, I mean, on land maybe you could argue that it's a stalemate because not much terrain is changing hands, but even there, Ukraine is taking out some pretty valuable targets. Like they've taken out a couple of Russian AWACS planes and command posts, which are basically not replaceable at all. And they've also sunk 1/3 of the whole freaking Russian Black Sea fleet. Which, for a country with no navy, that's pretty darn impressive, if you ask me. As far as I see it, Ukraine is still winning because Russia isn't really able to destroy anything of comparable value on the Ukrainian side. I mean, they haven't managed to touch a single one of the Patriot batteries. But, really and truly, come on. Western countries, Europe, the US, Australia, Japan, South Korea, and yes, Canada too. We gotta do more. Ukraine knows how to deal with Russia. That's the problem, is not that they lack the know-how or the desire to do so. The problem is that they just don't have the stuff that they're asking for. We have it in the West, but for some weird reason I don't fully understand, there's a lot of Western leaders that are just more interested in just pussyfooting around, if you will, and they don't want Ukraine to, it feels like the West as a whole doesn't want Ukraine to lose, but they also don't want it to win. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is or the rationale behind this. Maybe they seem to be thinking that, well, that Vladimir Vladovich will eventually realize, oh, okay, I can't take Ukraine. I should just give up and go home. Well, problem is, That's not the case. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin will continue attacking Ukraine, as far as I can see, until basically someone kills him. And if Ukraine starts reclaiming some large amounts of territory in the east of the country, and especially if they take Crimea, then that's going to make a lot of Russians, especially the ones who are close to Putin, will start thinking that this war is just stupid. It's unwinnable, and we've basically lost Crimea, which is what we took 10 years ago from Ukraine. So if you ask me, taking Crimea is going to be absolutely key for Ukraine, because that will mean the end of Vladimir Putin, and the end of Vladimir Putin will mean an end to the war, as far as I can see. So please, Western leaders, do more. Stop pussyfooting around. Help Ukraine. And yes, I'm also talking to you, Mr. Justin Trudeau. We can do more. It's good to stand with Ukraine, but they need more than just us standing with them. They need weapons. As many as we can send to them. I guess this is kind of my one-man pro-Ukraine, anti-Russia rally, since the weather was so terrible yesterday. I didn't go to any rallies, but yeah. That's all there is really to say about Ukraine right now. I'll keep talking about it on social media, namely Twitter. It's still Twitter. It's not X. I don't care what Mr. Elon Musk, the pro-Putin guy who runs the place, wants to call it. It's Twitter. So yeah, take care, and Slava Ukraini. I'm just gone a tiny bit west of Gossard Lake, and I know that this is probably not going to come through on camera properly. Sizes are hard to judge, but look at that giant tree back there. That's fallen. It must be, I would say, 40 centimeters in diameter. Perfectly straight. I mean, it's a perfect board tree. But if you think that's the only one, just take a look over here. There's another one right there. Perfectly straight. Would be great for boards. This one here, meh. This one's kind of a dime a dozen. I've got tons of trees like that on the farm. And oh, look at that. There's another one down there. Wow. I have literally just walked about, I don't know, maybe 30 meters down the road, and look at this over here. Another big red spruce, and back in there. Let's walk down a little trail off the side here and take a look at this. This is absolutely massive. This was actually standing when I filmed the... actually, when Russia invaded Ukraine, this was still standing, but looks like either Fiona or I think Lee knocked this one over. But look at the trunk on this thing. It is, like, look at this. This thing is, I would say, almost half a meter in diameter. Like, I don't know, it's absolutely massive. This is again a case of It's a beautiful tree. It would make nice boards, but I am just clueless as how in the world I get this out of here. I'm sure no one would mind if I cut it into boards, but I can't even mill that on my chainsaw mill. It's too big. I mean, I guess I can try to cut into chunks and skid those out with the tractor, but man, that's going to be hard. I don't know. I'll have to think about this one. Take care, and I guess I'm going to show you some drone footage of the area now, given how beautiful a day it is.